All right, guys, welcome to the hashtag Hype Train podcast. I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Corey, the current first pick for the next 007.
Nice lead in there, Corey. We are going to be. Yeah, we review new film trailers, video game trailers, all that stuff. We got some new movies coming out here, and as Corey said, and a little tie in there. The first trailer we're going to review here is No Time to Die, the 25th installment of the James Bond film series. So let's check out the trailer.
The past isn't dead.
James, fate draws us back together. Now your enemy is my enemy.
His name is Safin.
And what does he want?
Revenge. Me.
When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
You can imagine why I've come back to play.
There's a young lady in Santiago I want you to meet.
You're late.
When you're ready. Salute.
I met your new 00. She's a disarming young woman.
I get why you shot him.
Yeah, well, everyone tries at least once.
James Bond.
We both eradicate people to make the world a better place. I just want to be a little tidier.
Come on, Bond. Where the hell are you?
Have you ever flown one of these?
Nope.
Harder to tell the good from bad, villains from heroes these days.
What is it?
You don't know what this is. He's going to kill millions.
If we don't do this, there will be nothing left to save.
All right, guys, that was No Time to Die. Let's get right into it here. I'm going to go last. I will popcorn to Corey. You first. Go ahead.
Right on. I'll be short and sweet. I mean, I always say that and then end up going on a tangent, fueled by rage or
long and bitter.
happiness or sorrow. Yeah. But I don't care about the James Bond movies, listeners. That might surprise you. As someone who is the token not thinker in the group, you would think that something that's all about car explosions and neat gadgets and stopping a maniac villain from, I don't know, blowing up the ice caps or whatever would appeal to me, but it just doesn't. Especially since Daniel Craig has taken over the role and has dropped, at least from what I've seen, has dropped all sense of James Bond being kind of a smart ass, funny, quippy guy like Pierce Brosnan was.
So, this is where they keep the old relics in, eh?
I'll have you know, this is where our most cutting-edge technology is developed.
Point taking.
Must you touch everything?
Does this still work?
Now look.
So where is this cutting-edge stuff?
I'm trying to get to it.
Was to what I call the Nolan treatment, which is just taking something that's normally fun and nice and cool and neat and painting it with a black paintbrush until it's just like, life is tough. I'm gonna go.
Well, everybody needs a hobby. So what's yours?
Resurrection.
Ugh. So like, as long as Daniel Craig is a 007, I just don't care. Like Remy Malek is in this, so good for him. If they decide to make the female femme fatale in this the next 007, good for her. Maybe I'll check that out. But this is not for me. I don't got any research because I'm Coogler. I'm the guy who doesn't do the research. I'm the cool guy.
And do I hear correctly that as a 5, you felt you could park in handicap spots?
Well, see, that's just part of the Coogler style.
It's human crap style. Right him!
Okay, but that's low.
So, that being said, I will kick it to Sanford to see what he has to say.
Are you saying that you're a number 5, but I'm a number 4? I'm like your Annie Edison.
Yes.
Like doing your itinerary.
Correct.
I already expressed my opinion of Modern James Bond on the podcast when we talked about The King's Man, which is still hard for me to say. Like, I still can't say The King's Man. I still want to say The Kingsman. I know Mike's going to talk more about that. The last James Bond movie I saw was Skyfall. Mike, you and I saw that together.
Yeah.
It made $1.1 billion.
Wow.
Spectre, which came out after that in 2015, which was considered like was considered like, oh, like this hasn't been as successful. It still made almost $881 million. So that's why they keep making these movies, and that's why they're willing to back up the truck of money to Daniel Craig's house. He keeps saying that he doesn't want to do any more of them.
Because that's what I thought was
doing.
After Spectre, he was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And then
Right.
Skyfall came out.
Well, I was going to get into
Skyfall,
that.
Or whatever order.
Yeah, I was going to get into that just from my notes, just to touch on it real quick, just because I feel like it's pertinent now than it will be later. So
Yeah.
On the Wikipedia thing, they kind of outlined the speculation of all that. So after Spectre, there was speculation that it was Daniel Craig's final Bond film. Immediately after the film's release, Craig had complained about the rigors of performing the part, saying he would rather, quote, slash his wrists than play Bond
Jesus.
again. And then in May 2016, it was reported that Craig had received a $100 million offer from Metro Goldwyn Mayer Pictures to do 2 more Bond films. But he turned it down, suggesting that Spectre may have been his last. Now, this was just reported because in October of that year, Craig denied having made a decision whether or not he wanted to play Bond, and he denied that a $150 million offer was ever offered to him for the next 2 films. So, I mean, I feel like it was, though, that, he didn't want to do it anymore. He probably didn't even like the way the character was going. But then the movie studio was like, well, we're going to throw a bunch of money at you. How about you do this then? And he's like,
yeah,
let me think about it. And then took all the money.
That's 100% what happens.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig has got a record saying that he does not like, not just what you said, he doesn't like filming these movies because it's too rigorous. He doesn't really like Bond as a person. And I think he's reacting to the same thing that makes me not like these movies, is that it's very much the original character, James Bond, like from the books, where he's like this stone cold assassin. It's not film Bond, like from the previous movies, where he's goofy and
it's not like in like Flint-esque.
Like,
come on, Eric, you've had your lunch. Now, sir. What's on your mind?
like he's really a jerk in these movies, and I don't understand why we're supposed to like him that much. It's like, oh no, like in Skyfall, like, oh no, like he got shot and like he's having a hard time, like his confidence is shaken, like, and now he's an alcoholic. Like, I don't care. He's not
exactly, yeah.
You know.
You look like hell. When's the last time you slept?
You know, and he's kind of boring.
I see you filled out most of the paperwork. Just a few questions to complete your evaluation, if I may. Do you exercise?
When I have to.
Do you consider your employment to be psychologically stressful?
Sometimes.
How much alcohol do you consume?
Too much.
But yeah, like that's the thing. As far as this movie itself is concerned, though, so that's all me to say. Like, this is the Hype Train podcast. I can't be hyped for this. You know, like I just personally cannot be. Corey, you said it's kind of a surprise that you don't like them because you're Mr. Turn Your Brain Off and watch movies. You're right. These movies are dumb, but I think part of it is they pretend they're not dumb. You know, obviously, I think everyone agrees that Casino Royale, the first Daniel Craig Bond movie, is the best of the Daniel Craig Bond movies. The first one, it's like there's more to Bond this time. Like this is the mythos. This is why he does what he does. And then like Skyfall, it's like, oh, like he's got a real character arc. We have the worst act of any big budget movie ever, where James Bond just goes back to his old house and fights Javier Bardem there for some reason.
Yeah.
This is where you grew up.
So they're pretending to be deeper than they are. I don't think they're deep. I don't even think Casino Royale's deep, and that's a pretty good action flick. I think that's part of the problem is these are dumb movies that pretend they're not dumb. One thing I will say, Rami Malek, he looks creepy. Like he looks like he's doing what he wants to be doing, which is to just glower and look creepy and weird.
And talk creepy too.
I also will say, yeah, that's his whole deal. I thought it was weird. Daniel Craig and Ana de Armas, who we saw kicking butt at the end of this trailer, starred together in Knives Out. And Knives Out is a great movie.
Yeah, that movie's awesome.
So that's a bright spot. Kind of coming out the gate real negative this episode, everybody. Sorry about that. Popcorn, over to you, Mike.
We are coming out negative, but this is just the reason I wanted to do this trailer itself was just, this is such a big budget movie. It's a big film, big franchise that comes out. And I feel like we're not alone in feeling this way about Bond, about these modern day Bond films. Like, you're right, Matt. Like, they try to go deeper, like, especially when we did see Skyfall and it was like going into James Bond's house as a kid. Who cares? Like, why are they delving into James Bond as a character?
I was so annoyed.
Yeah. And like, I don't like the old James Bond films. Like, I was a big fan. I loved Roger Moore and Sean Connery as James Bond. They never went into like how their feelings and, if they're okay mentally. Like, they were James friggin' Bond, like they were the spy. They were super smooth. They were great with the ladies. It was a little bit goofy and definitely over the top, eccentric villains and all that. But it came together in this kind of stylized film, and it became a staple of what the Bond films were. And then trying to do it now, like you said, Corey, the Nolan effect, which I agree with you on, is making it this dark, moody, James Bond is going through some stuff. I don't care. I want to see James Bond. I want him.
I want him slamming drinks and banging chicks.
Yeah. And we don't get that. And it sucks. But, looking at Daniel Craig's kind of quotes already saying how he doesn't want to do it, maybe this is good because this is reported to be his final film as James Bond. Maybe they can get back to it. I mean, like we said back in, if anyone did listen to our review of The King's Man, the Kingsman movies, the first and second one, shows that you can have these spy films be like that and how they were, and bring it to a new audience and do new creative things with it and still make it seem fresh, So it's possible. And I don't know why, the people behind this franchise decided to go all in on this moody, dark James Bond that nobody really likes.
The thing is, somebody must like it,
right? Well, here's my point to that was that I feel like it's in following in the footsteps of like the Mission Impossible movies, and it wanted to be a part of the action franchise and not be a spy film. When I think it should have just stuck to kind of how the James Bond movies were, because even the Pierce Brosnan James Bond movies that came out when we were kids, action movies were still kind of like that, kind of goofy, kind of out there in everything that happened, very unrealistic on a lot of things. So James Bond could still fit in that era, and now action movies like Mission Impossible, they need to be very grounded and very real, and everything that happens needs to be affect the characters in a deep way. And
the Mission Impossible movies are an okay comparison. I think the Bourne movies are a better comparison.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like, because that's what I see when I see these movies. They even use similar filters. Like everything's bright but also gray.
Yes.
In the Bourne movies, everything's either bright and gray in these movies or bright and brown.
Yeah, everything looks weirdly washed out. It's
They look similar. They act similar. They're similar movies. You had brought up the Pierce Brosnan Bond movies that were coming out when we were kids.
Yeah.
In those movies, like M's always like James, you're a dinosaur. Like you're irrelevant and whatever all the time. And he's like, but you love me. Like, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah.
And then I think the Craig Bond movies still say that to James Bond in the movies, like you're a relic of a lost age, James. But outside of that, I feel like in the Brosnan age, it was them saying like, okay, this character is an anachronism, and we'll call attention to it in our movies, and that'll be okay. It's the 90s. Irony exists now. In these movies, it's like, okay, we're gonna say that we think Bond is an anachronism, but really what they're doing is they're trying to make him less of a dinosaur. They're trying to make James Bond relevant again, and now we're the dinosaurs because we don't like it. I feel like part of the joy of like a long running franchise like James Bond is it can become an anachronism and still be enjoyable. You don't have to cater to the taste of like the individual moment in time. People will still like James Bond. So I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with that, to be honest with you.
So moving on to, I guess, this movie itself. So this version of Bond. I mean, Daniel Craig is obviously returning. The director of this film, Cary Joji Fukunaga, compared Bond to a, quote, wounded animal and described his state of mind as struggling to deal with his role as a 00 agent. Craig stated that the film is about relationships and family. Doesn't that sound like a great Bond flick, you guys?
Boo!
The bright note, I think that Corey, you touched upon in that too. Rami Malek, he does look like a very intriguing villain, a very I feel like he fleshed out a decent character for this, at least from the trailer. Ben Whishaw, who plays Q, who makes all the stuff, the gadgets for James Bond. He said that the film's creative process was, quote, quite chaotic, but he's excited to see how the film's constructed. He is saying, though, this will probably be his last appearance as Q. He's done the 3 that he was contracted to do. So he doesn't sound excited, or he doesn't really sound like he has a love of his character or the franchise. It just sounds like, well, this is the last Bond film, and yeah. Another character, Christoph Waltz.
Opening night on Broadway.
I love Christoph Waltz ever since seeing him in Inglourious Bastards. I always thought, wow, what an actor. He's back as Blofeld in this, and I always like to see him. I think he's really talented. Ray Fiennes returns as M. I know we talked to him about him in The Kingsman, which the Kingsman still hasn't come out yet, right? Yeah. So we're getting a lot of Ray Fiennes coming up.
It hasn't.
Ray Fiennes.
Yeah, and Corey couldn't believe that his name was pronounced that way. Rudy just wants to say that he hasn't seen any James Bond movies because he's 3. But what he does like to do is chew on wires, which he's not supposed to do.
Nice.
Which
All right,
he's
Corey.
not supposed to do.
Boom or bust?
Bust. Just bust. But before you even finish saying it, it's bust for me. No part of this is James Bond to me, nor will Daniel Craig ever be James Bond to me. Sanford?
Bust. But y'all should watch Knives Out if you haven't.
Oh, yeah, do that. That's great.
Yeah, I'm also going to bust. It's pretty obvious. We all kind of ragged on this film a bit, or at least the modern day James Bond. I am interested, though, if there's anyone out there that loves this new James Bond. Maybe it is what you're looking for in action movies now. Maybe you love the way what they did with the characters. So comment below if you like it. This movie should be released in November of this year, it looks like. It's had a couple delays due to the 98 Degrees reunion tour, but it's finally getting released, so we'll see the reception of that later on. But let's move on to our next trailer here. Corey, this one is for you, so why don't you set it up for us?
After a monster apocalypse forces humans into an underground colony, a young man decides against all logic to brave the surface and face the monsters standing between him and his lost love in Love and Monsters.
See that? That's a voice.
Don't move.
Let me see it.
Don't move. Amy.
Let me see it.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm. I love it.
That's super sweet, because it's terrible. Oh my God.
Where have you been, Joel?
Amy, I love you. I'm gonna come find you. The day of the monster uprising was the day I lost everyone. Only a small fraction of humanity survived and moved underground. I've been scanning for Amy the entire time. And now I finally found her.
Joel.
Hey.
Joel.
Amy, is that you?
Oh my God.
Hey. How far away is Amy's colony?
85 miles. It's an impossible journey. Everyone will try to kill you. Don't fight. Just run and hide.
Okay.
You really got me going. You got me so I don't know what I'm doing.
You all alone? Me too. You don't have to talk about it. You want to come with me?
So I can't sleep at night.
Look out! Is that a samurai sword?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Listen to your instincts out here, man.
What if I have terrible instincts?
You'll die.
Super encouraging speech.
You made it all this way for a girl, huh? You ever hear the term fool's errand?
Joel.
Amy, I miss you so much.
We have lost this war.
We could still take our world back.
You're more of a survivor than I thought.
Oh, that was awesome. Oh, I feel like Tom Cruise.
That was Love and Monsters. So I'm really digging the new format where the person who picks the trailer kicks it to somebody else and then wraps it up. So, Fernandez, what are your thoughts?
Okay, yeah, let's this looks not very good. The trailer itself it has a weird that tone shift that a lot of trailers like to do. Doing this podcast, seeing this trope of super serious, then super crazy, upbeat, and goofy. Like it tries to do that and completely fails though, because none of the jokes seem to land throughout the trailer. He's like, you try to get this sense of, Dylan O'Brien, who plays the main dude, Joel Dawson, his character going through and trekking through the monster-filled land, kind of like very aloof and being, and it's kind of goofy. But nothing seems very funny about it. Like they start that music off and the first thing he does is find a cute dog, and that's his companion for the thing. Like you get Michael Rooker and a little girl, I like Michael Rooker. So that was kind of cool. He's still not much comedy yet through the trailer as they're doing stuff. And then, he's looking for his girlfriend, Jessica Henwick, who is from if anyone had seen Iron Fist on Netflix, she does a really great job, at least in the second season. The first season of Iron Fist wasn't very good.
She is also known for her role as Namera Sand in HBO series Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen.
I have.
But I have read the books, and that's not a major character.
Oh, she's not a major character in the show either. She dies real quick, but anyway.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like she's known for that. I'm like, that's not a major character.
The casting of Dylan O'Brien at the beginning of this, he loses his girlfriend because of monsters and his whole family, but then he's trekking through this, this world, and he's supposed to be like this neurotic, scared guy who doesn't know much, and him from different series already, the Maze Runner series, and he also did this action film that was released on Netflix too, where he loses his girlfriend, but that spends the time hunting down this terrorist organization that was responsible for it. And he's like, he plays a big action role in that. You've seen him in these big action roles, so seeing him play this neurotic, scared guy is just unbelievable and not very, it doesn't mesh well with what they're trying to go for. And I imagine someone like Jay Baruchel in this movie, the skinny Canadian guy who does the voice of Hiccup in How to Train Your Dragons. If you put that guy in this role, I feel like it could probably come off a little more believable that this guy really has no idea what he's doing with these monsters.
If this movie came out in 1999, yeah. I mean, Jay Baruchel is 40, but yeah.
Hey, it's Hollywood. Do the Hollywood magic thing. But yeah,
do the movie magic.
But my thing is just why did they have to cast this guy that as kind of had been trying to establish himself as a action star in his past few projects, and then make him be the guy that doesn't really know what he's doing. So it just wasn't believable. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be that great. So popcorn to Matt. What do you think?
So this movie is trying to be Zombieland, right? Like, that's all the movie is. It's just trying to be Zombieland, but with monsters. Except that there's a stated goal. That's the only difference. And that Zombieland is funny. Like, okay, so Zombieland, you have, like, the neurotic guy, and then he meets the badass, Well, who can we get for that character? But let's get a respect, like a well-loved, respected actor like Zombieland guy. Okay, well, Michael Rooker's available. Okay, he'll be the only good thing about this movie. There's a kid too. Nothing in this trailer screamed, other than the fact that Michael Rooker is there and he's great. Like nothing about this movie hypes me in any way. But it's not for me. It's for a younger audience. Clearly. Do they deserve better? Probably. I feel bad because I'm being negative again in this episode. And I feel double bad because this is the second feature-length movie by this director, Michael Matthews. This is his like fifth film, but his other movies were just short films, except for one of them. So this is his second movie, and he's from South Africa. I'm not even hitting down. I'm just punching at some guy from Africa, and so that doesn't feel great. But yeah, there's nothing about this trailer that makes me hyped for this movie. So Corey, what do you have to say?
So what was it? It was like 4 days ago. I was lying in bed watching YouTube, and I didn't seek this out. This came on as an ad. Like, this was an ad trailer, and I was just like, what the? And I just watched it, and I go, you know what? Good enough. I don't think I've picked my regular trailer for the week. I'm just going to do this because I just watched it. So I went on YouTube and took the trailer and slapped it in that email, and I was like, done and done. But you know what? I watched it a few more times because I'm like, yeah, this could be fun. You know, I like monsters, and I love Dylan O'Brien and stuff, and Michael Rooker's great. Jessica Henwick is awesome. Fun fact about Ariana Greenblatt, who is Minnow, the little girl in this. She is the girl who plays young Gamora in all the flashback scenes in the Avengers films.
Oh, that's nice.
So that's something cool. But yeah, you know, this movie obviously is a crazy contrast from the other two films we're looking at today, because No Time to Die, very serious James Bond, Dune, a remake of a very beloved science fiction classic, and then there's this, which I thought was maybe based on a book, so I was going to be like, well, they didn't go out of their way because it's based on a book, but it's not, as far as I can tell. It's just some dude sat there and wrote it out and then pushed it to somebody else, and then somebody else wrote the screenplay based on that like short story or whatever. But this is fun, you know. I like fun things. I like not having to think, and I love the people that are in this. So I'm on board, you know. It doesn't have to be crazy original. The graphics don't have to be the top of the top of the top. Like, I like just watching stuff because I like the people in it, and that's enough for me. So we can move on to Boom or Bust now. Like I have to guess from you two. But Fernandez, you want to kick off the bust?
Yeah. As you say all the time, bustin' makes you feel good, and sometimes bustin' makes me feel good as well, Corey. So I'm going to bust the shit out of this, as you also say sometimes. And yeah, I'm not looking forward to this. That's fine. I'm the one who does it. I did it to myself.
Yeah.
Matt, how about you?
I can feel the bust coming, you know, out of every pore of my body. I don't find this interesting at all. You know, maybe the only way I could possibly be convinced to watch this movie is somebody like, oh, do you see that movie Love and Monsters? Like, Michael Rooker is actually the main character of that movie. It was weird because he didn't look like he was going to be, but he's in like every scene. You know, that's the only way somebody could convince me to watch this movie.
I think it's going to be a boom. I think I know who this audience is for. I think I'm part of that fringe audience. It's going to be fun, damn it. We're going to have fucking fun. Next trailer!
Okay, the remake of the Frank Herbert classic novel that was made into a very polarizing movie in the 80s. It's being remade by visionary sci-fi director Denis Villeneuve. So everybody here's Dune.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
He'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
Kill them. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one.
Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
So that was Dune. I'm gonna keep it going by being the last person to comment on this. So I'm going to throw it away to Corey first. Corey, what did you think of the trailer?
There was a lot in that trailer that I assume I would understand had I read Dune or maybe seen the first one, but I have not done either of those things. So I'm just like, oh, hey, I think I know that guy from something. Oh, look, there he is. Oh, Zendaya's in this? Oh, what's Drax doing here? And then there was a giant butthole worm at the end, and I was just like, okay, I guess this is sci-fi or something. I don't know.
Quick unrelated note, Zendaya released something on YouTube. I don't know. It was like one of those quick things on YouTube I saw of how to pronounce her name because everyone pronounces it wrong, and it's not Zendaya. She's like, it's Zendaya. That's it.
That's not what she told me yesterday in the meeting for Spider-Man 3. Ugh. All right. I'll get back to her at a different time. But anyway.
Well, you probably weren't listening.
in true Corey fashion, he was not listening.
To be fair. You probably
was looking around. I thought Charlie Cox was going to be here. They're like,
that's kind of your brand.
They're like, and here's Zendaya, and I'm like, oh, hey, Zendaya, where's Charlie at? Wasn't he going to be at this thing? It's just this is something that I guess people wanted enough for them to put a lot of, like, for this studio to throw a lot of money at not only paying actors but then special effects and scenery and stuff like that. What I do know about Dune, like Sanford said in the header, that it's a very polarizing film. Like, a lot of people really like it, and a lot of people also think it's garbage nonsense water. So, like the trailer, I said it didn't get me hype. I thought it was cool what was happening, but other than that, it's just like, yep, this is a trailer, and I'm gonna go find another trailer to look at because that's what we do here. Fernandez.
Yeah. So we just did in the previous episode a remake, reboot, rehashing, respect episode, and this adaptation has happened it seems like almost every 15 to 20 years or so since it first started. In 1984, there was an adaptation. In 2000, the Sci-Fi Channel did an adaptation that was like a miniseries. And now we're getting, in 2020, another adaptation of the same book.
And the 80s movie came out about 20 years after the novel was released.
Oh, so, what weird. So yeah, it's kind of every so often this needs to happen for whatever reason. But so I'll put up I'll put a link down in the description of the person who actually did this work of putting up the original trailers or original clips from the remake in 1984, the 2000 adaptation, and this trailer. It's interesting to see. And it makes me wish I knew more about Dune, but I don't really. In the cast of this, Timothy Chalamet seems to be playing the lead character there. He seems to be a very famous up-and-coming actor right now, just because I hear his name a lot in things. He's looking into him. He's a very just like straight dramatic actor so far.
John Mulaney has that joke that's like, my wife is obsessed with this Timothy Chalamet guy, and I don't know who the hell he is, but he can get the hell out of here. And like, that's the joke, is that he doesn't know who he is, but his wife really does, and he doesn't like it.
I'm 6 feet tall. That's like a big deal to me. I don't know why it's a big deal to me, but I like that I'm 6 feet tall. We were coming back from dinner the other night, and my wife walks past me. She goes, you know, Timothy Chalamet's 6'1", and I just internalized it. And then the next day, I looked it up online, and it said he was 5'11". So I leave the garage. My office is in the garage, and I go into the home where she is, and I go into her office, and I go, you know, he's 5'11". She goes, what? I go, the boy. He's not 6'1", he's 5'11". She goes, what the hell are you talking about? I said, I'm 6 feet. I'm taller than the boy.
Yeah, interesting note about as you were talking about, Matt, or you said Dennis Villeneuve. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
So I'm almost positive that I mispronounced it because I was saying it assuming that he was Hispanic, but
he looks French.
I'm
right?
just looking it up. He's Quebecois.
Oh,
so he's definitely French. So it must be Denis Villeneuve or whatever.
Okay,
I don't know.
Well, he was approached to do the No Time to Die movie that we talked about earlier in this episode, and turned it down to work on Dune. If this wasn't happening, he would be the director of that film. Just so you know. What?
And he's an Academy Award winning director.
Oh yeah,
he won Best Director.
What was it?
Yeah, he won the Academy Award for Arrival. So we're talking
and I did like that movie. So I was about to say wherever it is in my notes. So he did the Blade Runner 2049. So he's not he's kind of a veteran in this new sci-fi world.
The movie of his that I haven't seen, but it has always been on my list, and I've heard really good buzz from, is actually Sicario that came out.
Yeah,
about like the government task force taking down a cartel or something, which also has Josh Brolin in it. So they must be buds.
Just two bros.
So yeah.
Two bros chilling in the hot tub, 5 feet apart.
They want to keep their social distance recommended by the CDC to prevent the spread of coronavirus.
Another high note for me on this, Hans Zimmer, very famous composer for films. It's interesting. So in that trailer, you got to hear a cover of Pink Floyd's song Eclipse. And it was actually because of the 98 Degrees reunion tour. And, you know, he had to do this over FaceTime with a 32-person choir. So the trailer, it looks interesting because I don't know anything about Dune. It looks like a huge, vast, hard sci-fi thing. From looking into this, it's one of those stories like how, you know, The Watchmen, people said you could never really do a faithful adaptation of. And Zack Snyder ended up pulling off what I thought was a decent version. Many people don't agree. This is kind of the same thing. This book has been said to be very hard to adapt to film. This movie is actually supposed to be a two-parter. The second part hasn't been greenlit yet. Maybe if this does well, they'll do it. But the director stated that this is supposed to be part one of a two-part movie series to sum up the book. Not really much else to say. Matt, what do you think?
Yeah, in fact, much of what I wanted to touch on is expansions on what you just said. The trailer is interesting because on the one hand, this movie seems complicated. We know because Dune was written over 50 years ago that it's a very complicated story. They're giving us some story here, but this trailer is interesting in that it's just like, we have this famous person, and then we have this famous person too. Look at this famous person. Here's another famous person. Like, you like these people, right? Like, watch this movie. I think that's something that's what's very interesting about not just the trailer, but this project, is that so many talented people have come together to try to make Dune, which I wanted to choose as sort of the nerdiest member of the crew of the hashtag Hype Train podcast, because I kind of feel like it's my duty, even though I don't have any particular attachment to Dune, just because this isn't Star Wars, you know, this isn't Star Trek, this isn't pop nerddom, this is deep in the weeds, hard sci-fi with like complex like oh, who's this character now? Like, well, why did he do that? And it's like, oh, and then also metaphysics, but also all this crazy intrigue. This is not, this is not an easy to digest story.
I mean, what I really like is dragons.
Dragons?
Mm-hmm. Dragon.
Dragons are fantasy. There's magical talismans, or a magic sword, or wizards, or fucking crazy, not real animals. All these basic things that break the laws of reality. That's all fantasy. I'm into hard sci-fi. Fantasy is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's so many talented people, both in front of and behind the camera, coming together to do this project. I think it's kind of a remarkable undertaking. Tons of the people doing work behind the scenes are multi-time award winners, from costuming to cinematography to sound design. It's almost strange to me that it seems that the studio has such high hopes for Dune and is really pushing this as like a big mega movie when this story has proven to stand the test of time, but in more of an underground sort of way. Like, is this going to be finally the time that like Dune becomes like a pop cultural touch point? I don't know that it will, but parts of the trailer and just what I've learned behind it make me interested to see, if how it plays out.
Well, a couple extra
I'm
things.
interested. Yeah. Go for it.
Well, this movie it's been in the works for a long time, and the rights to this movie has changed hands a few times. The director here, who we butcher his name, Denis Villeneuve, he got this back in like 2016, I believe. He got either the rights to do this movie or something. I did want to say that last year they announced that Dune: The Sisterhood, which I guess is another novel in this same universe, is getting a HBO Max show sometime. Also, it was announced that the company Funcom, this was back in February of 2019, has an exclusive partnership with Legendary Entertainment to develop video games, or just video games related to the upcoming Dune films. So we might see some video game versions of Dune. So just to say what you're saying is that if this is Dune's chance to really become and settled in the pop culture as one of the big sci-fi things, this might be it. They got plans to do a video game, plans to do this big film, having a streaming show that's tied to it. They have, I guess there's a role-playing type Dungeons and Dragons board game that's going to come out attached to it. So they're getting the ball rolling on something that seems like it's going to be huge here.
Yeah. And that's really what I was trying to say. I was surprised when watching this trailer just to see how all in they are on Dune, and I'm optimistic for it. I don't know that it's necessarily going to pay off. I find it very interesting that they would be so all in on Dune, because you hear about studios being so risk adverse and cynical these days. I think it's interesting that they would be so on board to just sort of media blitz Dune.
Boom or bust? What are we thinking?
I'm going to boom this. As I said, I'm not 100% sure this is going to pay off, but I'm very intrigued. So I'm going to boom it.
Cool.
Corey, what do you think?
If this pays off, this could like spread out into
Yeah.
a whole thing, like, board games and video games and movies and series. So if it's something that good, yeah, like let's just go all the way and just boom it up, boom style. Mike.
I'm gonna say boom. This is it, like we were talking about. They're putting all their eggs in this basket, and it's a big basket. They got a lot of stuff coming out. So I agree with the boomage.
I agree with the boomage.
Let's do the golden ticket, shall we?
But yeah, I'm gonna do it quick. I'm gonna golden ticket Dune, and I'm gonna vote we throw Love and Monsters off the train because that's how I feel. How do you guys feel?
I concur.
I want to go next. Me, golden ticket Dune, and throw off No Time to 007 or whatever it's called.
Cool. Yeah, I concur. Go to golden ticket Dune and throw off. No, not 007. Love and Monsters. Yeah, I concur with Matt.
Well, it's too late. You just said you concurred with me.
Very true.
You said I concur after I was talking. So
I feel like I don't want to set the precedent that if one of us says something incorrect, we have to go with it because I stutter so much. So no.
Dude, I've messed up so many times.
No!
I've messed up so many times.
Corey's trying to say, like, no, you said I concur, so that's legally binding. That's not a precedent.
It's legally binding.
All right, so
yeah, we're throwing Love and Monsters off the train. Dune gets the golden ticket. That's nice, right?
Congratulations to Dune.
Yeah, here we go, dude.
Mike, do you want to do the other segment?
Yeah, I'm going to give it a shot. Here on the Hype Train, we rag on a lot of stuff with our boom and bust, and we do say some negative things about films, but we do like to acknowledge that it takes a lot of hard work to release something. There's a lot of talented people involved and people that do put a lot into getting these either video games or movies. So we would like to move into our congratulations. I'd like to congratulate Dragon's Dogma for finally being released on Netflix. I believe the episode for Dragon's Dogma that we had wasn't the most positive, but it got released.
We ran over it with a train.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
But if anyone watched the episode, it was a toy train. At least that's how I did it. But yeah. Congratulations. Anything else that I might be missing coming out, unless anyone has anything. But yeah, we try to keep up with as much as we can. But when things come out, again, there's a lot of work put in there, and we just like to acknowledge that. So
this is the part of the train where we throw little shout outs to anything we've been watching, reading, playing during the week. I personally want to give my vote to Netflix's new 8 episodes miniseries, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. It's animated, it's fun, and while it may look like it's for kids, I really wouldn't suggest it for anyone under 12 years old because people do get brutally murdered by dinosaurs in it. And that's my little little plug for the week. Fernandez?
Yeah, I would like I don't know. No, go ahead, Matt. I got nothing this week.
Okay. Normally we do this to plug something that we've been watching or experiencing like over the week. I really do to have anything, but I'd like to plug YouTuber Brian David Gilbert for the audacity of releasing a comedy song with a hurdy-gurdy in the year 2020, which he did like 3 days ago. So check that out. It's called Where's My Laptop? So that's with Brian David Gilbert. Where's My Laptop?
Nice.
Has a hurdy-gurdy in it.
What is it? Wait, okay. I don't know what a hurdy-gurdy is.
It's a weird instrument, man.
All right. Is his YouTube channel David Gilbert?
Yeah,
what is it?
It's his name, Brian David Gilbert.
Brian David Gilbert. All right. Sounds good.
All right, guys. As we pull into end of the episode junction, I just want to take this moment to thank all of you for listening, for commenting, for subscribing if you did. Karen called me at the end of one of the episodes she was listening to and was like, hey, you said you were going to comment on this episode, and look at this. There's no comments here. And I was like, oh, shit, I guess I better go put a comment. So you can go see my comment for whatever episode that was, and I'll try and remember to comment at the bottom of this one, and maybe we can get a dialogue going, guys. Wouldn't that be fun if you could talk with me, the least successful member of the Hype Train? Wouldn't that be great for all of you at home?
Spoiler alert, his
guys,
comment is the word comment.
Yeah. You jerk, now no one's going to watch.
Yes, that's the reason,
guys,
right there.
Guys, we love you. Take care of yourselves. Support your local post office. Do the things. Get hooked on the swings. And for the hashtag Hype Train, I'm Corey.
I'm Mike.
I'm Matt.
And we will catch you guys on the next ride.